Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sin. If you're new here, hi and welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I hope these videos are helpful for you. If you're considering going into an IO program, definitely check out all the other videos. I'm here as a friend for you, so if you have any questions or comments or anything, comment down below or feel free to slide into my DMs and I'll answer as best as I can to anything you may have questions to. In today's video, we're going to talk about leadership because there's no doubt about it that when you join a program, you're going to talk about leadership. So I really want to kick off the conversation with giving some context and background to this and why it's important for me. IO was really intriguing to me because of the leadership aspect. It does encompass having to be an exemplar in your field, in your role, whatever it may be. So I had an experience where there was a lot of change happening within an organization. And we all know that when change happens, people tend to freak out. Generally, people don't like change. They like things to be the same way. So what had happened at the time was that these new managers were coming in and they were looking at policies a little bit different. They were looking at the way that the planning was structured. They ended up finding a lot of gray areas, and what happened was just a lot of questions, again, a lot of change, a lot of pessimistic views versus actually seeing, okay, how can we solve the problem and work towards a goal? It was just the opposite of that. I realized that these people were pretty good managers. I mean, they weren't terrible at planning and coordinating, etc. But when it came to being a leader in such a vulnerable time, they just completely lacked in that. At the time, it was a crappy thing to go through, but it isn't until later on that I realized I want to be the change in that environment. I don't want to have managers act like that. I want to step up as a leader. Even if I were to be in a position like that, I would hope that I could be a leader that is going to establish change in a very positive way and who's going to help create a vision towards the future where everybody's on board to reach those goals. Also got me questioning what makes a good leader and what makes a good manager. Those managers were great at looking at the numbers and trying to figure out how we're going to document and prove that we're doing X, Y, and Z. But a leader is somebody who's a visionary, who gets you excited and who gets you going, who wants to make you work hard towards those goals, and who's going to look at challenges as obstacles that we can accomplish together as a team and for the organization. So after that, it really got me thinking, what kind of a leader do I want to be? What are the values that I'm going to bring to the table? How can I tie them to the organization? How would I have approached that differently if I was in their shoes? And I encourage you to do the same thing. Take a moment out of your day to find a leader that you think is amazing. Maybe think of a manager who you think is amazing, and I write down those things that makes them good at those both roles. So let's kind of dive deeper on what a manager and a leader is. If you were to look up different tasks of a manager, you might find things like budgeting, control, problem solving, etc. Whereas on the other direction, you have leaders who are establishing direction, aligning people towards that direction, and who inspire people. All those different things are what make up a leader. But here's the thing, managers and leaders are equally as important to an organization, meaning one doesn't outweigh the other. So looking back now, I think they were great managers, but I think in such a sensitive time, there should have been a leader that could have stepped up and really eased that situation and made it just less crazy and a lot more optimistic. So when you're thinking about that leader that you think does such a fantastic job at those things, consider what it is about them that you enjoy. What is it that you look for in a leader? Do you want them to be competent, creative, supportive, innovative? What is it about a leader that you look for? I also encourage you to identify core values of yourself. What kind of leader do you want to be? And also, I challenge you to think about those behaviors. Is your behavior aligning up to those values to help you become an exemplar of that? Ask yourself. So be intentional behind that, because you as a leader can influence others. If you're someone new in a leadership role, the biggest thing I'd say is to try to build trust with your community, with your followers, with your members. There are 3 key ways that you can do this. And number 1 is my favorite, to be vulnerable. It's okay to be human, in other words. At the end of the day, we all are people. And people are all about connection. We are social creatures, so don't be afraid to connect with other people. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of leaders kind of be afraid to admit that they don't know things. And the truth is, we're all human. You might not know everything, but it's about the follow-up that the community and the followers care about. If somebody asks you a question, tell them, I don't know, but you know what? Let me find out for you and I'll get back to you with that information. It's genuinely well received, and most people will appreciate that you don't know things that they might not know either. And number 3, communicate authentically. Don't use large words or jargon. Try to talk on a level that people will understand. Speak to them truthfully and honestly with the heart. One of the things that I think is super important is to encourage change as a leader, especially in today's world. Like, look how much everything changed within a span of a few months. Really work to encourage people to be open-minded and to see how they can work in an ever-evolving environment. You never know how things can change, and you want to have people that are adaptable and open to that and who are always forward thinkers. Really, really important tip that I would like to point out. Another really good tip for all leaders is to celebrate wins, no matter if they're big or small, because every win is equally as important. So as you take this course, you're going to have to probably identify some types of leaders that stand out to you, like I had mentioned in the beginning of this video. And you're going to notice that there are really good leaders that do really well in the world, and then there's other leaders who aren't as successful. So one of the things that you'll discuss in your leadership class is leadership theory. You're going to notice that there's different kinds of leadership theories that the leader that you pointed out earlier in this video might possess. Or it could be possible that they would share characteristics of different theories, and that's okay too. In other words, there isn't a leadership style that's better than the other. Ultimately, what you want to do is pick features from different leadership characteristics that work for you and combine them. The inspiration of each one and make it authentic to your own self. But a couple of them that you can look up are leader exchange theory, adaptive leader, and transformational leadership. If I had to choose, I would say that that's the one that sticks out to me the most, because it really has to do with having a growth mindset, to bring about something and to change it, to make it better, to move it forward. There's this really good book out there called The Leadership Challenge that I encourage you to read. It's by Kuznets and Posner, because it's evidence-based, so they use research and it's very practical. They use examples of how you can go through these steps to become an effective leader, and it's an easy read. If I had to pick one of the 5 practices from the book, it would probably be inspire a shared vision. And I think that having a goal in mind is super important. I like it also because it really enforces being clear with what your intentions are. It really comes down to having an image of that future. So if this kind of conversation intrigues you and gets you excited, you might enjoy PSYCH, because there's a big portion of that that has to do with leadership. For the sake of the video, this is very surface level, but get a jump start and start researching some of those theories that I mentioned before. If you type in leadership on Google, you'll probably notice that there's tons of books out there. Just a quick tip to get those books that are based off science. Hope this video kind of got your gears going. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys in the next one.